Ladies and gentlemen, from RBL Posse, we have Black C.
Don't give me no Bammer weeds. We don't smoke that shit in a SFC.
Too Short used to come to our hood selling tapes. Master P was real cool, man. That was my guy right there, man. He wanted to sign us when we signed to Intermittent Records.
Really?
He was trying to sign us to No Limit. But something had happened where them dudes ended up jumping Tupac up in there. Yeah, JT and all their little crew. Yeah, them Fillmore dudes wasn't playing. Even, we had a little problem with Nestor Farrell. We thought he was acting a little big-headed at one of the shows one time. Like, Dre, that's my guy right there. Oh, my God, man. Because Mac Dre always made you feel like you was one of his best friends. Man, I was hurt, man. We lost him. Yeah, Foley Water, them like our family members right there. The time it was a little commotion between our cliques. 40 had called me. But what's this going on? Like him and Quinn got into a little problem about a year or two ago.
Tell us about what the Bay Area hip-hop scene was like back then.
Before RBL? You
Yeah.
About like
when you were growing up. Yeah, when you were growing up and even before you guys hit the game.
Before we hit the game, the hip-hop scene, we was pretty much listening to a lot of East Coast stuff. Around that time, we was listening to, like, the Steady B's, who was it, like KRS-One and them, the Biz Marquis, listening to MC Light. It was a lot of East Coast stuff that we was also, of course, like later, world-class record crew, stuff like that back in the 80s. We was off a lot of that stuff, but that was pretty much the theme. We was pretty much trying to be like the East Coast, even when it came to like the strutting, the breakdance, and all that stuff. We was going inside vacant houses, ripping the linoleum up, bringing it down to the block, to the basketball court, trying to break dance, doing all that type of stuff. So, it was a pretty much hip hop scene, sort of like you would look at it like in the East Coast until NWA came out, then things changed up. Too Short was around too. I'd say when Too Short. It's kind of started with us with Too Short, I would say. Too Short used to come to our hood selling tapes. And we used to like to be at the basketball court and just watching him come through in a 6.5 Mustang with one of my partners, Big Boo Boo, who knew him. And yeah, he used to come hang out up there in our hill. And then one of his songs, he said, "I give it up to my homies in Hunters Point." So he used to come through Hunters Point and sell tapes and hang out and all that stuff. He had a real tight relationship with a lot of the OG dudes up over there. So yeah, we used to hang out with him a lot. And that was pretty much the scene back then. And then I say after Too Short, people like 415, with Richie Rich, D-Lo, Brother Broski, and them came on the scene. That was this was all like pretty much like during and after the NWA era. It just starts changing over. That West Coast vibe start switching up, and it just was a whole different vibe. And from there, we kind of crossed over from listening to BDP and all them dudes, Big Daddy Kane's and all that. We kind of graduated over to like, NWA, okay, like we more relate to this instead of that East Coast stuff. It was like, okay, they really talking our lifestyle. They talking about these projects. They talk about really growing up in the hood and a lot of stuff we could relate to on the West Coast as far as the type of cars they was talking about and the type of females they was dealing with. It was more relatable, so it started slowly changing around, I'd say the late 80s, like 88, 89, around then. Then that started coming with, you start having dudes like from Dangerous Dame and Ant Banks, all his people he was producing from Dangerous Dame, the Spice One, the MC Pooh, 415, like they were Richie Rich in them, and then it just started graduating to like Cool Nut, IMP, and then was like our heavy influencers right there. That's who really influenced RBL with IMP, 415, and NWA, and was our top three when it comes to the music.
Okay. Now, I know there was a lot of, it was the 80s and 90s, so of course there was a lot of funk going on in the streets. How safe was it for people like Too Short or, 415 and all them to go from hood to hood selling their tape?
Too Short and them, 415 of them never came over to Hunters Point or in the city. Too Short was the only one. He was the only one that used to come over there, but 415 of them was pretty big. I'm quite sure they didn't really have a problem over there in Oakland, but as far as me, I ain't never seen them. They probably have, I don't know, but I never really seen them over in Hunters Point, you know, as far as moving units, but I don't know what they was doing as far as distribution, how they was getting their music out. At the time, I was just a fan. I didn't really pay attention to all that until later on, once I got into the game and started trying to run around doing the music. But yeah, as far as Too Short was the only one that was really actually coming to the city from Oakland. And Banks and a lot of them, all them dudes, Dangerous Dames, Spice One, a lot of them, they stuff, you just go to the record shop on Third Street, because back then it was a lot of mom and pop stores. So yeah, I don't know exactly how they was pushing or what they was doing to get it out, but as far as coming to Frisco and moving around, not selling out the trunk, Too Short was the only one I noticed doing that. Yeah, RBL Posse was damn near one of the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was out because he was with the Dangerous crew with Short and them. You know, so yeah, I forgot about Rat and Fog. Yeah.
When I heard him on that white Too Short tape, it was a done deal. And then I didn't hear him for a long time. And then I heard him with that Players Club. I'm like, that's the fucking guy from the Too Short song.
Me and my homies, we tighter than the glove. We chop a lot of game, that's how we do it at the Players Club.
Exactly.
Yeah. Forte is dope. Before we jump into the music, because Forte, I believe, is from a different neighborhood than yours. Can you kind of give the people ideas of the different neighborhoods that surrounded you guys? Like we heard it in the Forte song, like the Sunnydales, the Fillmores. Can you give us an idea of the neighborhoods
Yeah. Frisco consists of different hoods and stuff. It's a lot of projects out there. Like it's a lot of different, too many to name as far as the little, you can call it subsidiary hoods. Like in Hunters Point, there's actually different neighborhoods that's broke down in Hunters Point. Hunters Point is more like the district, the area, the community, and then you have different little projects in there. Like I'm from Harbor Road projects, and then you have West Point, then you have Oakdale, you got different ones, but Hunters Point is the main community, you know what I mean? And then you got like Fillmore. In Fillmore, you got different like VGs and Page Street, you got Virgos, you got OC Price, different ones, but Fillmore is the main community. So it's like Fillmore, Hunters Point, Sunnydale, Lakeview, which is where Felsky and Cool Nut and all them from. You got Potrero Hill, you got Alamany, you got the Mission area. You know, that's where like a lot of the Latino people is from, as far as like people like Julio from Black and Brown, a lot of them. And who else am I missing? VGs, Valencia Gardens. Yeah, they had their section up in there. So yeah, that's basically the main. I don't know if I think I said Sunnydale too. Yeah. Sunnydale, then they had Geneva Towers back then too. It was the Towers, which they tore down now, so that's not around no more. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole Frisco as far as like the little urban hood little sections and stuff up over there.
And I was reading somewhere that, I mean, for lack of better terms, you guys really wasn't fucking with each other. People like JT, the bigger figure, was, from a different, neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so kind of explain that relationship, and if you guys are cool. I think you guys are cool to this day, right?
Yeah, we all good now today, but back then, it was fun. Like I say, from 87 to like 92, it was straight. It was Frisco against street wars. It was just like a war going on between us and Sunnydale, Hunters Point and Sunnydale, Hunters Point and Fillmore and Sunnydale. Then people started linking, like we was linked up. We was real tight with Lakeview. Hunters Point and Lakeview always had like a little sister-brother relationship where we was always pretty much tight because we had the same common enemy, which was Fillmore and Sunnydale. So we kind of stood tight. And then later on in life, Sunnydale and Fillmore got kind of cool. Them two big turfs, so when they came together, they was like a powerhouse. They was kind of doing their thing. But we wasn't cool. Like JT, RBL Posse had his mama staying over there in Hunters Point, so he had like a pass. He was able to come over and hang out here and there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But you had a lot of dudes from over there, like Seth the Gaffler. Like me and him got cool up at Log Cabin Ranch, and we got pretty cool then.
That's a juvenile facility, right?
Right. Log Cabin Ranch is a place where they send you like to do like 11 months. You could do like 8 months to a year there, and that was little juvenile detention center. And then Seth ended up getting cool after Seth the Gapper from GLP. But yeah, we all went cool. We actually got cool. The war was going on. I actually lost my eye. I got shot in the eye by some Sunnydale dudes doing a drive-by, and that's how I lost my eye. A lot of people thought I was just wearing the eye for the eye patch I used to wear. That's like just something that's an eye for and all that statement for Mr. C death and all that. But it was actually me. I got shot during a drive-by, and yeah, and I got a glass eye. My right eye is a glass eye and stuff. So
can you take us back to that night?
2 ago, I got shot during a drive-by, and yeah, and I got a glass eye. My right eye is a glass eye and stuff. So
can you take us back to that night?
Yeah, it was actually in the daytime. It was Sunnydale dudes that came through. They had came through our neighborhood. They had came through the neighborhood and started showboating on. We had a main street out there, sort of like how in LA they got Crenshaw, where everybody roll up and down, the block, hanging out, hindsight and having fun, doing all that type of stuff. And pretty much the Sunnydale dudes, we got a street called 3rd Street that we was all hanging on after school. Everybody out there chilling. It was a hot day. Everybody messed with females, and it was like 3 carloads of Sunnydale dudes just decided to drive through. I wanted to, start pretty much like showing off, dipping their cars. Like when they dip the cars, it's like when you hit the gas, hit the brake, hit the gas, you start dipping, like bucking it, like a horse. So they was doing that, showing off, and somebody threw something at their car, and one of the dudes jumped out, acting kind of crazy, like he just, I don't know, he just started like acting like he was ready to go there. We was out there deep too, and they was only like about probably 10 deep in 3 cars. They probably had about probably 10 of them, maybe 11. They jumped out the car. Big old rumble took place. We start chasing them dudes off. Throwing pipes at them, bottles, and chasing them down the street, tearing their cars up. And after it happened, everybody pretty much came up to our neighborhood, to our project, and pretty much started talking about, people be sitting out there, oh man, I did this, I did this. Everybody gathered around talking about what they did and what happened, laughing, drinking, and them dudes came back and retaliated. Man, they hit the corner. All I heard was, ah! As soon as I turned around to look, dude was hanging out the side of the car, the passenger side, leaning over the roof with a 12 gauge.
God damn.
Yeah, and I just got hit twice. Luckily, it was just all buckshots, and it was from a distance because it spread. It hit me in the right side of my body. When I turned around, I got hit in the left side. But I had ducked down and ran low, and I went instantly blind. I knew as soon as I started screaming to my boy, like, man, I can't see you. I'm shot in the eye. I'm shot. And, they just rushed me to the back of my house, rushed me in the car inside the house. My mom came down there screaming. She's like, oh, yeah, his eye bleeding. A lot of blood coming out your eye. And I just panicked out, started panicking, and they ended up taking me in the car, took me to General Hospital, and, they ended up, yeah, man, your retina and stuff is messed up. We wanted to take the eye out. It's like, we got to do surgery immediately because we don't cut it off. It can cause an infection, and you can go blind in your other eye, and this and that. And I was just like, and my mom just gave me okay. Yeah, just take my eye out and then remove it. Yeah, so I ended up getting a prosthetic eye. Damn. Yeah, I ended up having an all-white one for a couple months. And in that time, too, I ended up going to juvenile because as soon as I got to the hospital, they raided my house, found me like 10 guns in my house, and that's when I ended up going to juvenile and then going to log cabin. And, LCR, so that's when I ended up seeing Seth up there. We ended up getting kind of cool. After the riots, because there was a bunch of riots going on because we were,
riots in the city or in the detention center?
In the detention center. It was like log cabin. Before I went up there was a few riots in juvenile, and there was a bunch of Sunnydale and Fillmore dudes up in there with Hunters Point and Lakeview, and they just like, once everybody started hearing about the little war that was going on outside, in the streets, it just got hectic up in the inside. People started just kind of retaliating, getting people, and it just spread all the way up to log cabin, and it was crazy. And it was a crazy time, but what's so crazy is our album actually stopped the wars. You know what I mean? A lesson to be learned, man. Yeah. It's crazy.
I want to jump into that. That was exactly what I was going to go into next. The year is 1992. First of all, I want to know, when did you, before we get into the lesson that we learned, when did you start producing, and what kind of equipment were you using, and how did that whole process go down?
Well, when I got out of Log Cabin in 90, I went to Log Cabin in 89. When I got out in 90, when I was up there, I was already getting kind of motivated because we was up there listening to Cool Nut. We was up there listening to that. When I came home, my boy Budweiser, the rapper I was telling you about, he was doing a little bit of rap. And he was just like, man, Black, I want you to get behind me and try to, do some music, T-Lo rapping, I'm rapping, like, man, we just need a studio, this and that. And they, at the time I was having a little money. I was one of the young dudes on the block, hustling and doing my thing. So, I had a few chips stacked up. So I was like, all right, let's go to the pawn shop. I'm like, man, as long as y'all know what to get, I'll get it. And we go there. These dudes didn't know what to get. They just, yeah, we need a microphone. So for the first piece of equipment I ended up buying was the Tascam 4-track from the pawn shop. I didn't have no manuals or nothing to none of this stuff. I had the FB12, I had the Tascam 4-track, the FB12. I had a little chord keyboard. I had the Dr. Rhythm Boss. It was the Boss Dr. Rhythm beat machine. And what else did I have? I had I just bought the new Mark mixer and a Technique 1200 turntable with Bamford. And that's pretty much what we started with. And we used to just kind of record on the 4-track. I'll make the beat first. And I just kind of started playing with it because Budweiser told me he knew how to mess with the stuff. Him and this other dude named Double B, who used to be in the studio, who was a rapper. They was like, yeah, we know how to work the equipment. We always got all in and know how to work none of that stuff. So I kind of self-taught myself. Really, after about a week, I already had a little thing for music because my mom had a closet downstairs full of nothing but Parliament, Funkadelic, Roger, Zapp. I mean, all the bands you could think of, man. It's from Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder. She had a collection down there. I mean, a collection, Cameo. And that's where all my samples was coming from, like off the first album. That was all my mama stuff, Prince, everything, That's all she used to do was sit outside with her doors open with a big old speaker she used to drag to by her front door and just sit outside on the porch and just blast all her little 12-inch singles and stuff that she had, the extended version of Flashlight and One Nation Under the Groove. I'm talking about, she played everything. So that's pretty much how that started. And pretty much what happened was I was trying to get Budweiser and them going, get behind him and this dude named T-Lo. And they started faking every day. Then I'll make beats. They'd come up there. And then they'd get to procrastinate, and then they'd come in, probably freestyle a verse. They wasn't writing at the time. They was just going in there just freestyle. And it was kind of sounding tacky. So I said, man, y'all need to start writing, man, so we can, put this stuff out for real. And, make a long story short, T-Lo started bullshitting. So I started rapping. I made this song called What About My Nigga, where I named everybody on the turf. And I put a song out called Rolling Through the Turfs of HP, where I was naming all the turfs in Hunters Point, pretty much to try to pull everybody in. I knew, like, man, if I name people, they going to want to play the album because they heard their name in it. And if I name these turfs, like all the little hoods in Hunters Point, they going to play it because they hearing their hood up in there. So that's what I did, and that was my strategy, and it worked. And everybody's like, oh, Black, man, you sound better than Budweiser. You sound better than T-Lo. You need to be a rapper. Your voice is dope. Like, man, you got a voice. There's something about your voice. And I was like, cool. He's like, man, you need to go press that stuff up. So, I ended up making a song called Don't Give Me No Bammer Joint. Smoke that shit in Hunters Point. And then I made a song called Can't Say a Nigga Gay from the East Bay. And at the time, I didn't realize Frisco was West Bay. I could just hear much of East Bay from the Oakland cat that I made. But it took off. I used the more bounce beat, and it kind of took off. Everybody liked it, regardless of what I was saying. A few OGs that told me, like, man, this is West Bay. I was like, oh, shit, I didn't realize that. But, yeah, a lot of the younger dudes didn't even realize it. They thought it was the East Bay like me, too. But, that ended up happening. And I was about to go to the studio, and I told Budweiser, like, man, I need to find a real studio. And he's like, man, I know this dude named TC who worked with Cool Nut and them. He's like, he the one that recorded all Cool Nut stuff, all the INT stuff. And I was like, oh, where they at? He's like, man, in Lakeview. they got a little studio over there off of Ocean. I ended up hooking up with him, man. We need to go over there and connect with him. And we went over there, connected with TC. He like, man, I'm about to move my studio to Hunters Point. I'm like, oh, that's cool. He like, yeah, just give us some time. So the lease is up on the building. You know, the dude, Max Facius or whoever the dude that was putting out crew nothing at the time, he was about to sell all the equipment. TC let him have it. So week later, about to get ready to go in there and start on, well, I think 2 weeks later, because he brought all the equipment over. We went down and he was still hooking it up, but by the time we got in there, he was like, yeah, man, you know, y'all can book y'all time. I got a little cold feet. I didn't want to do a solo album because at first, A Lesson to Be Learned was going to actually be my solo album.
Okay.
But I ended up getting a little nervous. That's why it's a lot of solo songs that I kind of start off like A Lesson to Be Learned. I got more like an orgy on there. I got sort of like a cycle. It was a lot of songs that I was working on that I start off. You hear Mr. C come in last because I was working on it was going to be my album. Part of Survival, all that stuff was stuff I had already had that I was working on. And then, I got nervous and I was just like, oh man, I went to T-Lo, like, bro, I'm ready to do an album with you. Let's do it. Cause I didn't want to fail by myself. You know what I mean? I didn't want to, he'd be like, oh, it's weak and it's that. So I was like, I need some real rapper to hide behind because I'm kind of more like a producer, but I'm doing this rap stuff for fun. But I want to get a real rap, somebody who's going to actually be the lead rapper that I can get to be in the forefront to where I can kind of be behind them so I don't have to, you know, if it do be weak, it won't be just my fault. So that's how that happened. So I end up telling T-Lo to come with me, and he was like, man, I got to hustle. I don't want to do it, but I got this other rapper, this girl I deal with, her brother's a rapper, and his name is Kyle, man, but he called himself Mr. C. And I was like, is he tight? He's like, yeah, man, that's all he do is stay in the house and rap, man. And he's like, this dude, he write like you be saying, telling us to do. He really write. He got pamphlets and stuff for raps. And so the next day, he brought him up there. Make a long story short, we end up he came up here, we did one song called Hit Squad New Jack, and we was calling ourselves the Hit Squad at the time. And then we end up later on finding out that EPMD got the Hit Squad, so we had to change our name. Mm-hmm. So T-Lo ended up giving us the name Ruthless by Law. He was like, man, why don't y'all just use Ruthless by Law? And I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. You know, I didn't even really understand the meaning behind it, whether it just sounded dope. I was just like, okay, yeah, Ruthless by Law, that's dope. And he's like, yeah, man, y'all, you know, Ruthless by Law. And I was like, all right, cool. So we ended up taking that down to TC and started working on A Lesson to Be Learned album, man. And the RBL Posse actually came and we started taking pictures for the cover before we even finished with the album. And
his name.
I ended up telling, it was a long name, so I was just like, man, you know, I had a few of my dudes get in the picture with us, and I ended up like, yeah, let me shorten it to RBL Posse, because what I was trying to do is capture that NWA-ish type album cover. Yes. I was like, man, looking at NWA, and you know, it's like when you got 4 or 5 people on the cover, they all in black, they all looking like, you know, they coordinated like that kind of captured people's eyes. So I was like, man, I don't want to just be with me and Mr. C on the cover, so I asked my other partners to get in, and they stepped in the picture, and that's when we ended up making names. I'm like, man, we're going to call it RBL Posse. We looking like a posse on here. Nice. And yeah, so we went and finished the album off. We already had our pictures and stuff. We had a few pictures we took on the mail Jeep. We had a few pictures we took on the project buildings, and the one that stood out to us was the one in our basketball court that ended up standing out, and that's the one we ended up using. But yeah, everything was lovely, man. It just worked out well, and that fucking album just took off when it hit the streets. It just, the first 1,000 I pressed up, shot out, and just sold out, man. And within like 2 days, the stores was calling me back. I ended up taking that money and pressed up 5,000. When I pressed up that 5,000, In a Minute Records came knocking, and that's what ended up led us to a deal with In a Minute, which was a shitty one, but I mean, he got us out there. I will give him credit for that, for getting us out there.
Let me ask you, what city or what area in the country besides the Bay showed you guys the most love? And I know you guys went on a tour, right? Who did you guys go on tour with? If you can answer those two for me.
We was on tour with by ourselves, and then when we came back, we went on tour with Andre Nicotina, Dre Dog at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And
we kind of helped him out.
What area showed you guys the most love?
Man, the most love we got, the most love was Detroit.
Damn.
The whole
Okay.
Michigan, Flint,
Huh.
Flint, Michigan,
Interesting.
Pontiac, Michigan. Oh my God.
Interesting. Okay.
Pontiac, Lansing. I mean, the whole Michigan, from Detroit, Pontiac, Flint, Lansing, man, we used to be out there man, we lived out there. They loved us out there. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, that's dope.
I remember we would get a little tour around there too. This was before MC Breed. Well, MC Breed was hot at the time, but this was around the time with MC Breed. There was a girl. I don't know if you remember the girl called Boss.
Yeah, of course, from Detroit. Yeah, we talked about her on my show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Boss was out at the time, man. We did a few shows with her. Yeah, it was like a little mini tour thing we had out there. It was nice, man.
Yeah.
It was nice. Yeah, man. But yeah, I couldn't believe it either. I was like, wow, all the way over to the Midwest, skipped all these other states, all the way to Detroit. Like,
Interesting.
they just kept nonstop booking us.
And you know how
yeah,
that's,
of course, Seattle.
you know how that started.
Portland.
You know how that started. Somebody probably had a cousin that lived in Detroit. He went out and visited him, took your tape out there. He's like, damn, man, who was this? And then he recorded it. Then another person recorded it. And that's dope as fuck. But you said Seattle, of course, that they're kind of your neighbor. Who else?
Right, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, and then besides the Bay Area was eating it up. But besides that, it was mainly like Detroit, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, and I would get into like Phoenix, like Arizona next after that. That was like our hot market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Them were hot spots.
Well, I wanna give you, if you can give me like 10 more minutes. I just want to name a few people and you give me a nice little short story or a thought, or something that comes to your mind. What about? Did you ever run into Tupac?
No, I never met Tupac. I seen him getting chased up out of the stone in Frisco by the Fillmore dudes. The Fillmore dudes. Yeah, JT and all their little crew. Them Fillmore dudes wasn't playing, man. Them Fillmore dudes, they used to be bullies back in the days. I ain't gonna lie, they was crazy. Them dudes had some. Even to this day, JT and all the dudes I know from Fillmore, they still the same. Fillmore got so much Fillmore pride, man. It's a fool. They was telling a story about it. Quinn did one of the interviews and told the whole little inside story. I wasn't inside the building, but I pulled up afterwards because there was a show a week after we did our show. We had a show with Andre Nicotina, Totally Insane, and GLP. And it was probably one or two other groups we did at the Stone on Broadway in Frisco. And then, a week later, they booked the Governor. They're from Oakland, and Richie Rich. They was doing the show, and they brought Tupac. And, it was some shit had happened. I don't know exactly what happened, but something had happened to where them dudes ended up jumping Tupac up in there and chasing out the building. I just seen the ruckus afterwards, them come running out. And I was like, damn, what the hell? And that's Tupac, Digital Underground. And I'm like, what? And like, the Fillmore dudes is on him.
God damn.
Yeah, but I never met him personally. I never got a chance to meet him.
Okay.
No, at all. So,
Master P, he kind of had his start in the Bay. Do you have any Master P stories?
Yeah. Yeah, Master P was real cool, man. That was my guy right there, man. He came and he really looked out for us. He actually wanted to sign us when we signed to Intermittent Records.
Really?
He was trying to sign us to No Limit.
No shit.
Yeah, he was trying to sign us. Yeah.
Back in '92, before No Limit, was a thing.
Yeah, it was 90. It was 96.
Okay.
He was cracking in. By 96, he was cracking. This was like 95. I mean, when we was working on the deal in 95. He had already moved back down there and kind of was already, making his waves and stuff. So, yeah, but we didn't think it was a good fit. We were like, I don't think that we. Plus, our dream was to make it and have that stamp of a certified label like Atlantic or Capitol,
Gotcha.
or Electra or something that that you've been growing up seeing. So I didn't want to just jump on on No Limit when I was already leaving Intermittent Records, another independent company. I wanted. We had Relativity Records at us at the time. We had Def Jam. We had too many options that was just at us to where, Master P was just like, we don't want to do that. But, yeah, Master P was cool, though, man. He was a real good dude. Came and got us for both his compilations. He always showed us love when we ran into him at Intermittent Records because he was over there at Intermittent Records, too, for a minute, doing a few deals with Jason and them. Good dude.
Okay.
You know, I ain't got nothing but good positive things to say about Master P. That's my guy.
Good shit. One of my favorite rappers of all time, E40.
Yeah, Foley Water, them like our family members right there. Back in the days, man, we did so many shows together, ended up in so many places together. We, you know, that's like our, damn near like our fucking brothers. Yeah, my boy OG partner of ours introduced us to E40 and them back in the days before we even came out with our album. We was hearing little demos. We was hearing like Mr. Flamboyant, that song Left Side and all that stuff for the click. You heard a lot of that stuff before it even came out on record and everything. So before it came out on cassette. But yeah, a dude named Bubba Hamp, OG Bubba Hamp, man. Yeah, 40, them, all of them like B-Shot, B-Legit, Sugar T, all of them, man. Sully said all of them, man. They like family members, you know.
Yeah.
To this day, we still tight, still cool. Never had no problems. You know what I mean? Anytime there was a little commotion between our cliques, 40 would call me. Bro, what's this going on? You know, like him and Quinn got into a little problem about a year or two ago, and 40 called me right up, man. What's up, Black man? Why don't you reach out to Quinn, man? You know, he on Facebook and Instagram tripping.
Really?
You know?
Huh.
Yeah, and he ended up getting at me, and, you know, we squashed that shit real fast. And, you know, even, you know, we had a little problem with Nestor Farrell. We thought he was acting a little big-headed at one of the shows one time. And one of our dudes, I guess, reached out to 40, like, man, you know, Black and them look kind of mad at Neff, you know. And, you know, he was acting, I guess, like a star, you know, trying to act a little big-headed towards him when they was trying to take a photo. 40 called me the next day. Man, I got Nestor Farrell on the phone, man, and like, you know, I can't, you know, let y'all be leaving feeling some type of way, man. I had to call you as soon as I heard about it. You know, we, you know, squashed it right then. That's how tight we is, you know. We don't let shit escalate at all in my family members.
I love hearing shit like that, man, because we already know dumb shit can happen at the drop of a hat. That's dope as fuck.
Yeah, so sure.
I fucked with Big Lurch, and we all know he had that situation where he was supposedly high on PCP and ended up eating part of his girlfriend. Right. Did you explain your relationship with him?
It was mainly just a studio relationship. Like, I met him through Mike Mosley. I was over there dealing with Mike Mosley for the Eye for an Eye album, trying to get some tracks from him. And Lurch was there every day. And he was just in there rapping, and I used to just like, okay, dude, got a dope-ass voice, got a tight-ass style. And Mike Mosley was playing me a few beats, and he ended up playing every beat he was playing me. It was like Rick Rock. It was a Rick Rock track, and he was just like, man, I'm just gonna hook you up with Rick Rock. So he ended up putting me in the studio with Rick Rock. I ended up getting about 5 to 6 tracks from Rick Rock, and Big Lurch was real tight with Rick Rock, because I guess they was working on the Cosmic Slot thing, they little group thing. And yeah, I ended up putting him on the album, but because it was the song that we did, How We Coming, was going to just be me, Hitman, and Mystical. And Lurch was just rapping his heart out like, Black, man, I need to get on this track, man. You know, man, I'm loving y'all shit. And, man, you know, I'm a fan of Mystical, man. This would be a dream come true to get on that, you know. And I was just like, man, this guy come with a dope first, bro. Man, I just don't want it to be too long. He's not going to make me single. And when he came with that verse, it was undeniable. I was like, oh, shit. That's the dude. I said, you on the track. I said, you on it now. I said, without a doubt, man, that boy came in and spit that shit. I was like, whoa. Like, okay. But, yeah, that was as far as our relationship with. We didn't really hang out away from the studio. We just kind of met that day. It was cool. And I was kind of, I stayed tight with him just mainly through Rick Rock. You know what I mean? Okay. But he definitely folks, though.
Okay, and last name I want to throw at you, not just a Bay legend, but now just an iconic hip-hop legend, period, Mac Dre.
Mac Dre, that's my guy right there. Oh, my God, man. I mean, every rapper in the Bay probably got a story with Mac Dre, man, and love him to death. Because Mac Dre always made you feel like you was one of his best friends, you know what I mean? Like, he really, like, no matter how big he was, like dude, our first show we had with him when he had just got out of jail, he embraced me so much. And I was like, man, I used to listen to this dude, California Living. I used to be just hustling on the block. I used to be listening to him. And now it's like he out a big-ass fan of us. He's like, man, I'm a fan of y'all shit. He like, Black man, I love that shit. Nigga, don't give me no back. He singing that shit word for word, singing all our songs. We had a show at the theater out there in Fresno. And, man, he got up there doing his little dance and all that little shit in the back while we was on our side. Man, that is my guy. Him and Kilo and them, that's my fucking guys, man. I was hurt, man. We lost him, man, because he, no matter what he was doing, he will sit down after a big show, everything. I mean, he came to our rooms. You know, we done had about 3-4 shows together. Okay. He'd pop up at our room, knock on the door, come in, hang out. And it's like females out there, people chasing, looking for him and all this shit. Like, I'm getting there hanging out with my guys. Like, he'll come, hang out, chop it up with you, give you that hour, 30, 45 minutes of talking time where it ain't no bullshit, where you just sitting there really chopping up like, man, you my homie. And he made you feel good, man. That's one thing about him, man. He always embraced it, no matter what, no matter where we was at, no matter if he was headlining or wasn't headlining or whatever, man. He showed the same love, and he never changed from the time I seen him when he got out, when he was building himself up. Even though he was always hot, but he didn't have that movement rolling like a fucking big-ass tsunami until later on. Even when he was at that tsunami stage, he still was the same motherfucker, man. I love that dude to death, man. That dude was so fucking cool, man. Cool as shit.
I could hear it in your voice, man. Like, I could really hear it in your voice, how much you appreciated that dude being in your life. That's dope as fuck, man.
Man, I'm blessed to just at least have a few stories where I just sat there, because I hear everybody in the Bay, oh, Mac Dre, yeah, man, that was my guy. That was my uncle. He did this, and we was together, and it's like, I got to say, I see why everybody feel like that, because when you come in contact with him, man, he give you that, he give you that attention.
Damn.
He don't just brush you. You got some dudes who get on their little pedestal, get on their little high horse, and they get a little funny. They start acting a little funny and shit. And they change once they get up there. And you be like, man, when you was a small guy, you was kind of like, you know what I mean? You was listening to motherfuckers. You was giving me your ears. You was giving me full attention. Now you big, it's kind of like you, oh, yeah, I ain't buying you. You try to brush your motherfucker off. You know what I mean? And that's what I didn't like about it. It's a lot of these dudes. I ain't going to say no name, but it's a lot of big dudes who like that. You know what I mean? Who done made their way up. And, you know, now they acting a little funny. But Dre never was like that. Never. Never, man.
You just gave me chills, man. Being a hip-hop nerd, you just gave me chills, dog. That's dope as fuck.